Israel's designated Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has succeeded in forming a new right-wing coalition government. He made the announcement after weeks of negotiations with religious and far-right political partners. Netanyahu led his party to win the most seats in Israel's November election, but needed coalition partners to govern. Netanyahu, who is Israel's longest-serving Prime Minister, will head the most right-wing administration in Israel's history. The coalition agreement includes plans for judicial and security reforms. Critics fear the new alliance will sow deeper divisions in the country.
Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu may soon add a new chapter to his memoirs, published during the election campaign. Israel's former Prime Minister is back, but this time Netanyahu sealed his return with the help of a controversial far-right alliance.
Everything now depends on Netanyahu, because Netanyahu can be a reasonable prime minister. Even if you do not vote for him or not like him, he can run Israel and he can run conflicts. He can do it. The question is his partners. Who are his partners? And that's the problem.
His partners, the openly anti-Arab and homophobic ultra-nationalist religious Zionism alliance. Its leaders are Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir. Ben-Gvir, here during the election campaign, has been convicted for incitement and barred from military service because of his extremist views.
Death to Arabs? No, no, no. Whoever wants to live here in peace, Ahlan wa Sahlan. But whoever is throwing Molotovs, whoever is killing children, killing women, is a terrorist. So what do we want? Death to terrorists.
Critics are concerned about their ultra-nationalist religious agenda becoming mainstream in Israeli politics and their verbal attacks on Israel's Arab minority, among them elected members of Israel's parliament, the Knesset.
Targeting me and attacking me in order to attack the whole Arab and Palestinian community. When he is saying death to terrorists, he says death to Arabs, as he said before 10 or 5 or 3 years. We are talking about very extreme and racist Jewish politician.
The party became the third largest political force in the November 1st election. Their strong showing has split the country even more.
I feel frankly scared and also disappointed. Around 400,000 people voted for the new MPs Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, and these two people have, I find, appalling opinions, and that personally also endanger me as a woman, as a leftist in this country, and also as a LGBT person.
I think most people voted for Ben-Gvir because of the security situation in Israel. We really want the security to improve.
I think people are longing for someone who does act and not only talks. I personally know Ben-Gvir. I was working in his law firm when he was a lawyer. I'm also a lawyer. And I can tell you that he's true to his word.
Netanyahu's new government is likely to be one of the most right-wing in Israel's history.
Well, for more, let's go to Jerusalem, where DW's Rebecca Ritters is standing by for us. Rebecca, this government is considered to be the most right-wing Israeli government ever. What will this mean for life in Israel?
Yeah, that's right, Anthony. I mean, this isn't the first right-wing government, of course, that Israel's ever seen, but it is being dubbed the most right-wing, with Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud Party, the stalwart right-wing party, now sitting on the left flank of this coalition. And that, of course, is likely to bring in some pretty big changes for the lives of Israelis and Palestinians, both here in Israel and in the West Bank. Now, when you look at talk about the big-ticket items, you've got the occupation and the situation with Palestinians. You heard some of it in that report there. Many of the new right-wing leaders, of the coalition leaders within this new coalition, are pro-annexation. They've used very anti-Arab rhetoric, racist rhetoric, as you heard there in the report, even towards Knesset members, and we're likely to see more of that. Now, some of agreements have already been made in the lead up in the coalition talks, and many more direct powers being given now, being promised when it comes to security both within Israel and the West Bank, and of course to the settlement policy. Now we're likely to see potentially an expansion of that settlement policy, and settlements that were considered formerly illegal under Israeli law even, we're likely to see them be legalised. That's already been promised to the new coalition partners. And when you look inside Israel itself, you've got very controversial laws that are already being talked about, that are already being promised to be changed. And this is what's known as the override law when it comes to the Supreme Court, giving the government more rights to overrule the Supreme Court, giving them almost free rein on power. We're talking about a country that doesn't have a constitution, and it doesn't have a second chamber of government. So the Supreme Court is really one of the last checks on the government, that potentially being scrapped as well. We're looking at a rollback of gay rights. Some of the coalition partners looking to, even one saying that the Jerusalem Gay Pride will no longer be taking place. They want to look at reintroducing conversion therapy, things like that, in a country that is considered quite liberal when it comes to gay rights. You've got conservative members of this coalition now wanting to roll back those rights. Also, when it comes to Jews immigrating here, they're wanting to tighten those laws in adherence with strict Jewish law. But Netanyahu has accused critics that they're fear-mongering, that he is actually in control, that the coalition are joining him, and that he's not joining the coalition, and that no one need to worry because he's still in control. But of course, that remains to be seen, Anthony.
And so this is Israel's fifth government in less than 4 years. Briefly, how much hope is there that this one has any more staying power?
Well, I mean, how long is a piece of string, Anthony? It's really hard to predict. This government, or this coalition of parties, did win a pretty large majority when it comes to recent Israeli politics. They got 64 seats. They needed 61 to govern. So that is considered quite a big majority here. But whether or not Benjamin Netanyahu will be able to keep together the differences in his coalition partners and try and maintain also unity within his own Likud party. We've had some Likud ministers expressing their discontent, and they potentially could lead the party. So he's got a little bit of a buffer there with the 64 seats, but whether or not he's going to be able to hold everyone together certainly remains to be seen.
Rebecca Ritters in Jerusalem, thanks so much.